Students destroy cultural house at Constitution Park. Daru residents want full upgrade on the road network. And Pukpuks to meet Tahiti in the Oceania Cup Grand Final.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for Sunday's news. The National Museum has condemned the continuous destruction of cultural structures at Constitution Park, Port Moresby. Yesterday, the Gogodala Longhouse was set alight after the East Sepik Provincial Day. A suspect has been identified and is now in police custody.
What began as a day of cultural celebration ended as a day of cultural destruction with the burning down of the Gogodala Longhouse. The motive behind this is not known, but it has received widespread condemnation. The UPNG East Sepik Students Association, who organized the Provincial Day, said it was beyond their control. President Leighton Savi regrets that such an act has tarnished the reputation of the East Sepik students and its people.
The burning down of the house came after the ending of the Provincial Day. It was a sad thing about us CP, as we have staged a successful event yesterday. After everything went on and we closed up, the crowd was dispersed and only few, one, two, they have turned this event into a negative perspective, to put a negative perspective on the people of East Sepik and the students.
Patron of the East Sepik Students Association and Maprik MP John Simon says it was not the intention of the students to carry out such an act.
And apologize on behalf of the students, of the civic students. I, as the patron of civic students who went ahead and organized this event, it was not our thought, it was never our idea to have these houses and these historical houses burned down and to put fires on them. We have respect for these the properties, we have respect for these institutions. All we wanted to do was host an event to showcase our cultures and traditions.
The Gogodala Longhouse is one of the many cultural structures built during the Melanesian Festival of Arts and Culture. Its destruction highlights the lack of respect there is for objects of cultural significance. Director for National Museum Andrew Motu described the Constitutional Park as a hub for cultural activities. He urged the people using the venue to be mindful of their actions.
Been to the police. At least one suspect has been apprehended and charged, and we hope that the prosecution could go further.
Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
2 men have sustained knife wounds alleged to have been caused by Laloki police. Joe John and Alphonse Olabe told EMTV News they were brutally assaulted by Laloki police last Tuesday. They were then locked up at the Boroko police cell and charged for consuming homebrew and later released on 300 kina bail. They are appealing for an investigation into their plight as they feel their human rights have been denied.
Katimi pla wante knife na orkari mi pla go loki mi pla so mi pla stop one time isla knife ma one time lo ser
about kam puting ganlo mi pla oto ibla slip gorau na mi pla slip gorau na o kikimi wata bu one boot broken face mi pla na to kerap na puli mi pla go puti mi pla lo market house lo public up mi pla siram lo up oksim diwai tribe lo diwai kam paiti mi pla na oksim knife blow oliet oksikam inside lo karet knife blow oksikam no rausikam no kati mi pla wante knife.
In response to tensions at the University of Goroka, its Vice-Chancellor, Dr. Gairo Onagi, in a statement says Goroka Police, under the command of Provincial Police Commander John Kale, told students at a protest 4 days ago to disperse because they weren't made aware of it. According to Dr. Onagi, police arrived on the scene and advised the students that their planned march was illegal and that their planned sit-in protest was limited to within the institution's vicinity. The students became rowdy. In the process, there was a confrontation between the disgruntled disgruntled students and police. The statement from the UOG administration also stated that minor injuries were sustained by a handful of students as well as security personnel. There were no deaths, as speculated on social media, with students receiving treatment at Goroka Hospital. On the 18th of this month, Vice-Chancellor Onagi had announced for the student body to return to classes, stop all forms of harassment and intimidation on the campus, as a restraining order was in effect. Locals in Daru, the capital of Western Province, say their cries for proper road networks continue to fall on deaf ears. They say road conditions have worsened to a stage now where the entire island needs a full upgrade on its road network.
Daru is a small island that houses major government offices. It is the access point where the South Fly people get education, health and transportation services. The road and drainage systems have not seen an upgrade since the 1980s. Kiwi Louis is a well-respected local and has lived in Daru for 31 years.
With our roads, it's more like a big ditch and drainage systems here, right in the center of middle of the streets, and we just wonder how our political leaders feel when they are driving here.
This is one of Daru's main road. It was constructed when Daru Island became the Western Provincial Capital in the 1970s. The road links the residential areas to Daru town. Today it is nothing more than a dead road with craters as deep as 30 centimeters. The road condition is the same on the southern part of the island. There have been some roadworks, but according to Daru locals, the contractors do not always complete the roadworks, and in many cases the road conditions become worse than they were before the roadwork.
Came to realize that there were so much millions of kina given to contractors that were supposed to build this road.
While some locals say the move in the provincial capital from Daru to Kiunga has affected the government services, others say it is just ignorance from the South Fly member's office. Because of the absence of a traffic office, the town lacks proper traffic signs, including street names. Locals feel the establishment of a traffic office will minimize the traffic concerns they encounter on a daily basis. Takla Gunga, National MTV News.
Still to come on National MTV News, the PNGDF establishes a new barracks for the Highlands region. African musician visits Bougainville, and the US marks 10 years since Hurricane Katrina. Welcome back to the news. As part of commemorations marking the International Day of the Disappeared, Christians in the autonomous region of Bougainville will pray for those who went missing during the Bougainville crisis. Organized by the Red Cross office in Buka, the program will commence tonight and continue with a dawn service tomorrow morning. Families of the missing persons in North Bougainville, as well as those from Central and South Bougainville, will also conduct rituals and ceremonies honoring their loved ones. The Papua New Guinea Defence Force has established its first barracks in the Highlands region. Singirok Barracks, as it will be known, is the PNGDF Highlands Regional Engineering Base. It is located at Kerawil in Jiwaka Province.
It was a historic milestone for the Papua New Guinea Defence Force. After 2 decades, it finally has its own military base in the Highlands region. Operating out of Kerawil in Jiwaka Province, the Highlands Regional Engineer Base complements other military barracks in the country. 75% of PNG's population is located in the Highlands region. It is also where most of PNGDF operations occur. PNGDF Commander Brigadier General Gilbert Toropo says the establishment of the barracks is critical in safeguarding vital national assets in the region. PNGDF is expected to send the first batch of 100 men by the end of this year or early next year. The man behind the idea of the first Highlands Regional Barracks, former PNGDF Commander Major General Jerry Singirok, wants the youth service program stipulated in the 2013 Defence White Paper implemented.
May talk thank you, Long Commander PNGDF Colonel Siale Diro, one time Minister of Defence, long authorized him Despla, long Defence Force White Paper of 2013, which authorized the PNGDF to go ahead and commence the youth service program and the school cadets. Whilst the rest of the country is too preoccupied, I want Jivaka, I want North Wagi to be the base, the center of the school cadets for the Highlands region.
He commended the national government for its commitment in recognizing the importance of having a Highlands regional base. Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
Many a homegrown musical talent can be found in the autonomous region of Bougainville. Take, for example, this year's vocal fusion winner Maurice Opeti. African musician Frank Chewa found this out when recently visiting the island. All the way from Zambia, Frank, better known as Afunika, said the Bougainvillean music should be marketed and promoted internationally. Fabian Hakalitz with this report.
Afunika may not be popular by name and face, but his songs have already become favorites to music lovers in Papua New Guinea. His real name is Frank Chewa and comes from Zambia in Africa. Afunika is the first international musician to tour the autonomous region of Bougainville since the Civil War and has called it his home.
The welcome the people gave me there, it was, overwhelming.
On his type of music,
I call my kind of music as new version of Kalindola. It is that old, but I'm trying to, do some kind of stuff where youths will like it and old people.
Afunika's tour was made possible through Sapiens Entertainment, promoting PNG musicians overseas.
To heal from what happened in the past. So it was a very fulfilling part of our tour.
Afunika's tour is an eye-opener to music lovers as described by a Bougainvillean.
And then when they go back, they can promote Bougainville in terms of the music industry, and not only that, also through what the place is like now.
In Arawa, Fabian Hakalitz, National EMTV News.
Turning overseas now, and somber ceremonies and upbeat celebrations in the United States today. That's how they rolled in New Orleans as residents and dignitaries, including former President Bill Clinton, marked 10 years since Hurricane Katrina devastated parts of American South.
Saturday marked a decade since Katrina made landfall in Louisiana, an event FEMA calls the single most catastrophic event in U.S. history. The storm is the costliest in U.S. history, killing more than 1,800 people and causing more than $108 billion worth of damage across these states, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, and Mississippi, which took a direct hit. Take a look at these pictures of New Orleans today next to the devastation from 10 years ago. Parts of the city have truly been revitalized, but the work isn't over.
You're watching National EMTV News. Trukai Sports is next. All the action from the Oceania Pacific Cup. That's after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. To rugby first up, and Tahiti shocked the American Samoans, beating them 20 points to 8 at the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium in Game 1 of the Oceania Rugby Cup today. Elijah Lavette has more.
American Samoa came in as favourites to win, but that wasn't the case when Tahiti struck first early in the match through a pass from fullback Andoni Jimenez to the hooker David Lahil to draw first blood. An unsuccessful conversion kick left the score at 5-0.
Good kick. Oh, it just falls short.
A penalty was given to American Samoa in Tahiti's territory, giving them the chance to post points through a penalty kick. They failed to convert, with the ball rolling into the hands of the Tahitians.
Good run.
Things started to get worse for the Samoans when Dave Collins was yellow carded for a late shot on Andoni Jimenez. With American Samoa one-man short, the Tahitians capitalized and scored their second through a driving maul. Conversion was successful, bringing the score up to 12-0.
Good attempt this time, yeah.
American Samoa struck back through Sonny Lameta, muscling his way, breaking the Tahitians' defense. Their kicking game wasn't on par today, as Auta Gavaya missed the conversion. The Tahitians led 12-5 at half-time. In the second half, American Samoa scored first with a successful penalty kick taken on Tahiti's 30-meter mark, bringing their score up to 8-12. The Tahitians replied few minutes later, also from a penalty kick right in front of the Samoans' goal post. And to seal the victory for the Tahitians, they managed to score after catching the American Samoans outnumbered at the corner of the field.
Let's try to Tahiti, which puts them 20 points.
Sealing the game 20 points to 8. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
And in the main match this afternoon, the PNG Pukpuks have made it 3 out of 3, winning their third game against Solomon Islands. The Pukpuks piled on 58 points to Solomon Islands' 19. They now meet Tahiti in the grand final of the Oceania Cup.
Missed by Bali.
The Solomon Islands were the first to post points through halfback Isi Takiu, before Nigel Genia would continue his form with the boot.
Good kick there from Nigel, maintain his record.
The PNG Pukpuks dominated the open exchange, with the first try for the home side going to Robin Amalu Jr. And soon after, Butler Morris, followed by Wesley Valley.
He'll score! Another try back.
That dominance continued as the Solomon Islanders could only barely manage to cross for their own. The Pukpuks taking a 22-5 lead into the halftime break. The second half continued with the Pukpuks maintaining their aggressive attack. Nigel Genia again instrumental at scrum half.
Yeah. James Lumaris.
A yellow card to Libet Suang for a high shot on Moses Motai, marring an otherwise stellar performance by PNG. Paul Nelson putting the icing on the cake with just moments remaining for the Pukpuks to win by an impressive 58 points to 19. Jeremy Moggy, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports for this evening. The weather details when we come back.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region, Port Moresby fine and cloudy, mostly fine in Kerma, and fine weather expected in Daru, Alotau and Popondetta. To the Momase region, fine weather expected in Wewak and Vanimo, mostly fine in Madang, and fine and cloudy for Lae and Wao. In the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine for Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul, mostly fine as well for Kimbe, and brief showers expected in Buka. And in the Highlands region, all centres to experience drizzle and morning fog. Before we go, recapping our main stories this evening. Students destroy cultural house at Constitution Park. Daru residents want full upgrade on the road network. And the PNG Pukpuks to meet Tahiti in the Oceania Cup Grand Final. And that has been the news, sports and weather this Sunday, the 30th of August 2015. On behalf of the EMTV News crew, have a pleasant working week. Good night.